everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer and today we're going to be taking a look at Chanel. I'm calling this the Chanel Beauty Shopping Guide because the Chanel Spring Collection is about to drop and it's actually released already overseas. Here in the US it should be coming out in about a week or so, a little over a week. And I started to think, like, if I was new to makeup, if I didn't really know Chanel as well as I do, what would I pick up from the collection? And realized that I've really never done a best and worst of any of the brands that I use. Chanel, Tom Ford, Dior. So I thought I'd start with Chanel. One, because as I said, the spring summer collection is dropping in a week and a half. And also because I used to work for Chanel as makeup artist and I feel like I know the brand pretty well. So with that, let's start. I do have a full face of Chanel on today. I'm going to go through the products that I think are the best of, that definitely are worth picking up, and the ones that I think, there's competition on the market. But let's talk about the spring summer collection. Now, since this is in magazines overseas, I think it's safe for me to put the pictures up. So hopefully. So first, we have the quad. This quad is the Delice quad. It's pastel shades. If you look at the swatches, they look, to me, it's like Easter eggy. You know, when you were a kid, if you celebrated Easter, you would dip the eggs and dye them. That's what comes to mind. They look pretty. They look soft, but it looks like a very pastel quad. Then there's this blush, which I will tell you right now, absolutely I'm buying that illuminating blush. They're calling it the Fantasy de Chanel or something like that. A little hard with the translation, but I will tell you that it is a tweed highlighting blush. There are tweed blushes coming as well. That's a whole different thing. We can get into that later. But this looks very unique. I don't remember. I'm thinking, I worked for Chanel half a lifetime ago, literally 25 years ago. So I'm trying to remember over the last 25 years if I've seen anything like this. I don't remember seeing anything like this. So I think this is pretty unique. It will sell out if history is any guide, so I will definitely pick it up early if I can. It looks like a really beautiful fabric pattern, so I'm very interested in that. Again, I would say if the history is any pattern here about Chanel blushes, and I'll get into that in a minute, illuminating blushes, I don't think it's going to be super pigmented, but we'll see. All right, then we have what they call balms, the face balms, limited edition shades. I'll talk about the balms, but spoiler alert, I do not like them. And unless the formula has changed in some way, I am not going to pick them up and I won't recommend them, but we'll talk about it in a minute. The colors though are lavender and coral. The swatches though, to be honest, they don't really look like there's that much shade, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, then we have the waterproof styro. These are for the eyebrows. Now, I actually don't own any Chanel brow products. None. And that, thinking about it, now that I'm looking at all the Chanel in front of me, is odd. And to be honest with you, I'm trying to remember back in the day, I don't remember really having any brow products from Chanel. I think it's because over the last 25 years, brows have become much more of a statement. It used to be that there was like a CoverGirl, it was like brown, they had brown, ash, light blonde, and something. There was like 4 shades, and that's what everybody used, and they sort of drew on their eyebrows, and that was it. There really wasn't the focus, not even close, that brows have today. So I am probably going to pick up the brow product that most resembles my brows, which I think is 816. We'll see, because I'm going to try it out, because I haven't used a Chanel brow product in a very long time. Then the Allure inks. Again, they're pink reds shades, not my favorite shades, and I do not like this formula, at least for the inks that I already have. Again, I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. And the Cocoa Balms. The Cocoa Balms I do have, and I really like the balms. I'm actually wearing it today. And these 2 shades are shades that I'll definitely want. I think they're really nice. But just saying, there's not a lot of pigment in a balm and you're paying for the Chanel name. I mean, I think we all know that, right? An expensive balm. Look, I love expensive balms. I have a lot of them. I am totally paying for the Chanel packaging and the name. There's no doubt. I know that. So as long as you know what you're getting, then I think it's fine. So let's go through the products that are my my favorites and the ones that I would steer away from. Right, so let's just build. Let's start with the face products and move up, because I actually have quite a bit of Chanel in front of me right now. Hopefully I'll take a picture of this and put it on Instagram or something. So let's start with foundation. I have to say, I'm not going to go through every Chanel foundation because honestly that will take too long. And if you do want a video or something dedicated to just Chanel foundations, I actually have quite a few of them, and my thoughts on each one, I can certainly do that. But I, in general, really like the Chanel foundations. My issue with Chanel foundations is they usually have a scent, which I think is unnecessary. Again, I am not bothered by the scent, but I know a lot of people cannot wear products that have fragrance in them, and a lot of people just don't like fragrance in their products. So I feel like Chanel could learn from that and do more without the fragrance. But that being said, I really can't think of a Chanel foundation that I've hated. There are Chanel foundations that aren't my favorite. That's true. But usually it's because they're too matte for my liking, or, you know, the formula is not just right for my skin. But in general, the foundations are really good, and I've enjoyed them over the years. And in fact, there is a new, and I'm not going to put up a picture because that one hasn't been released yet, but it's powder. It's like a powder foundation slash like finishing foundation. And back in the day, 25 years ago, there was a foundation, a powder foundation that I used to love, and they discontinued it, that worked on my dry skin. So I'm hoping it's something like that. I will definitely be trying that out. But the two foundations that I would say are like my favorite and honestly give, I think, just an amazing finish are the, and I've talked about it a million times, Le Beige's. This is the tint, the new one. As you can see, I've used up quite a bit of it. And the Chanel No. 1. The Chanel No. 1 does have a faint fragrance. It's a camellia fragrance. It's not nearly as strong. The tint, I'm just making sure. I don't smell anything. I really don't. If there's a scent and I'm missing it, please somebody let me know. But I have bad allergies, so sometimes I don't, you know, like if something's not strong, I don't necessarily smell it. But yeah, I don't smell anything in that foundation. So I really like it. It's what I'm wearing today. It's what I wear, frankly, a lot of the time now. On a daily basis, that's the one I go for. It works really well for me. Both of them, like I sort of interchange them. This one actually has a little less coverage than this one. This one has a little more. So, you know, honestly, this has skincare in it, but that's not really relevant because I have a pretty strict skincare routine that I do. So I don't know how much the skincare in that works unless you're literally using it every single day, which I don't. But I do like it. I mean, I don't think it's bad for my skin. It doesn't irritate my skin. So if I want a little more coverage, I go with this one, which is what I did today. And then if it's like an everyday Zoom call kind of thing, I do this. Those are my two favorite foundations, and they might be my two favorite foundations like ever. Pretty much. There is one that's not Chanel, but it's a very different finish. And I have to say, guys, I've recommended this at least to like, I don't know how many people, and every single person who's used it has loved it, regardless of skin type. So just saying, I absolutely think that's worth it. It's definitely worth at least trying. Concealers. Now, I know there's the new Sublimage concealer, which comes in a pot and it's creamy, and I know a lot of people have talked about it. I don't have it. The reason I don't have it is because I generally don't invest a lot of money in concealers. I invest a lot of money in my skincare, going to the dermatologist, lasers, all those things. So I don't, concealers in general, I don't spend a lot of time on, and I've been lucky enough to not, quote, need them. Not that we need any of this, but I don't feel the need to have a lot of concealers. I do have Chanel concealers. I have what they would call the wand concealers. You know, they have the little doe foot on the end. The green, I actually do use quite often because I do have rosacea. And so when I want to cover, if I have really red skin, and sometimes it just happens, I have a flare up or whatever, this is what I use underneath. It does work extremely well. really, really well. You take a very tiny, tiny amount of it. I mean, like a dot, like it goes a long way. You don't need a lot of it. You dot it on your hand and then you just kind of like press it into the skin. And I'll show you what I mean. It just sort of evens out my skin tone. You can see a little bit of green because I didn't blend it all the way in and I haven't put anything over it. But it works really well, like especially around my nose where I have broken blood vessels. That's what I use. Now, the regular cream concealer, I do think it's good. I like it. I think it works really well. And honestly, on the time, like I do have a couple of concealers that I use. I have this, I have Charlotte Tilbury, I have a few. I think this one is excellent and it works really well for me. I think it's B10. Yeah, I think it's B10. I'll make sure the numbers down below is correct. But I wouldn't say that it's just a standout product for Chanel. Like I don't think it's so much better than other concealers by other brands that I think it's a must buy for Chanel. So that's why I'm kind of like, it's good, but it's not my favorite. Let's talk about contour. So way back in the day, Chanel was one of the first to come out with this tub. This is the new one. This is the Le Beiges. It's now the Soleil Tan, and this is medium. And at the time, it was just Tan de Chanel or Tan de something like that. And I'll be honest, I loved that product because there wasn't really a lot on the market, to be frank. That was more of a contour product. That was more of like a bronzer contour. That really wasn't as much of a concept. So I loved it and I still have it. And in fact, it's got like this much left in it and I've had it for 20 years. Well, not that long, but I've had it for a really long time. So I'm not dissing the Chanel contour. And the new one, this medium shade, I actually think is quite nice. I think it blends beautifully into the skin. It's absolutely like silk and I think it's great. Here's the thing though. I don't think it's a standout product anymore because other companies have come out with great contour products, great sticks. Westman Atelier has a great one. Rare Beauty has a great one. I think there's other, NARS has a really good one that I use all the time. That's actually a better shade for me because it's more mushroomy, so it works better as a contour. So do I think it's good? Yeah, I think it's a good product. And if you absolutely love the Chanel formula for you and that works great, then by all means. But I would just say this is definitely going to be more expensive because it's Chanel. And I wouldn't say it's head and above everything else that has come out in the last few years. I like it more than Charlotte Tilbury. I like it more than the Makeup by Mario. But the sticks, like the Charlotte Tilbury, the wand that she has, or the Westman Atelier or Rare Beauty, I like more for contour products. So, it would be unfair to me to say that, yes, absolutely buy this one when it's not the one that I use all the time. Bronzer, on the other hand, is a different story. If you had asked me this question a year ago, I would have been like, look, I use the powder that Chanel has. Chanel, by the way, across the board for powders, like pressed powders, they're always, well, I shouldn't say always, almost always excellent. Like I'm always impressed by the feel of their powders. They're always silky. They're made, I think, for a more mature skin in mind. They always look elegant and they're always not like too much. They're just a beautiful powder usually. And so I used the powder that they had, and I can't remember the name of it. I'll make sure it's down below, but in a deeper shade. So it was basically a finishing powder, but it was a deeper shade, and I used that as bronzer if I was using Chanel because they didn't really have a bronzer. Chanel didn't really have a bronzer. They had the Tan de Chanel on the tub, which was kind of orange, and then, let's be honest, but they didn't really have a bronzer. Well, they have fixed that. They have a bronzer. It's the Le Beiges. This is the light, which I used today. It's an oversized bronzer, and it's still dirty. I keep cleaning it, but it gets dirty immediately. And I love this bronzer. It's a great bronzer. Beautiful on the skin, blends right in, not irritating. There is a scent, but it's light. You can still actually smell it a little bit, but it's light. It's not super heavy. Why Chanel insists on having a scent, I don't know, guys, because they make perfume. I don't know what to tell you. But the bronzer is beautiful on the skin. Like I said, it blends right in. It's just a really nice powder. Like it looks beautiful. I would say is, there are 3 shades. So depending on your skin tone, it might not necessarily work for you. When I first tried the light, I was like, it's so light. But actually, I've gotten lighter, paler. Probably the lasers and not going outside. So, you know, I actually like the light more than I used to. So that is that bronzer I absolutely think is worth it. They said it was limited edition. It still seems to be around. So now we're going to move to highlighters. And I'll tell you, this is a product by Chanel that I do not understand. And like I said, there's 2 coming out as part of the spring collection. Okay, so I don't have numbers. I'm not sure if this is correct, but Lila, and then Dragé, which is limited. There doesn't seem to be as many of those. I'm gonna guess that's the lavender one. Shades that I have Pearlescent, Ensoleil, and Printene. Let's see if I can show you. So this is what they look like. And there's a bunch of people, Suku has these, a bunch of people have these. Westman Atelier has these. And I'll be honest, the different shades that I have, I can't tell a difference on my face. I really can't. Like, they look the same to me when I put them on my face. So that's the first thing. Except for this pearlescent one, which is definitely like whiter. But here's the thing. My skin is really dry, so it usually is something that is emollient in some way. It sucks it right up. This does not. This does not dry down. Ever. Like, I've tried, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it just doesn't seem to sink into the skin. Now, does it give a really pearlescent, really beautiful shine? Yes. Yes, it does. But that's because it's sticky. Or it stays sticky. Now, if it doesn't stay sticky on you, that's awesome. I wish I had that experience, but I don't have that experience. And I bought 3 of them. Like, it's not like I just bought, like, I bought them in different releases because I was like, well, maybe it was just that shade. No, they don't dry down. They just stay sticky. I can't handle that. I can't handle sticky things on my face. Like, I don't like lip gloss that's sticky either. It bugs me. I don't like matte. I'm very picky. I don't like matte. I don't like sticky. But I can't get these to dry down. So unless this formula is different in some way than that formula, I'm not buying these again. Because I feel like I did it twice and that was stupid. Because I didn't like it the first time, but I bought it again. Another thing that I think is terrible are these illuminating top coats, multi-use highlighting top coats. And these came out, the last ones were holiday, I believe. And I just don't understand the purpose of these, to be really honest. Like, they say they're multi-use and they're top coat. So I guess you could put it on your eye. You could put it underneath your eye. I don't know. And they are glossy. Like, you can see it, right? But they're really not. I think maybe the problem is similar to the thing that I've said before. If you haven't watched my channel, I've said this a couple times. If you try to make a product that works for everything, then it works for nothing. Because if it's so general that you can use it on anything, then I think it loses its value, its uniqueness. Because there are very few things that will work just at the peak of performance on everything. Like, there's some things in life that I'm really good at, and there are things in my life that I'm really, really bad at. And that's okay. And I've accepted that. And I don't, those are things that I'm like, well, I'm not good at that. That's cool. These are the things that I'm good at, and I try to refine them and get better. And it's not to say that you can't get better at things. It's just that, you know, very few people are good at everything. And very few products are good at everything. Because to be really good at a lipstick, it probably means you have different properties than a cheek product or an eyeshadow. Now, that's not to say you can't have multi-use products. There are sticks that I use all the time that I use on my eyes, on my lips, on my cheeks. But I'll tell you guys, honestly, with those multi-use products, there's always one use that I prefer for it. Like, there's always, and I'll get to that in a minute, there's always like, oh, it works okay for this in a pinch, but I like it for this other use. So yes, in a pinch, you can use it for everything. And that's great from a makeup artist perspective. You know, you can put lipstick on your eyes. Yeah, of course you can. But in general, the properties that make it a good lipstick will probably make it a less good eyeshadow because the skin on your eyes and the thing that you're going to do with your eyes is probably different than your lips. That's just my take on it. So I think that's why I don't like it. I don't think it's really a good highlighter. I don't think it's really a good concealer. I don't think it's really a good top coat for your eyes because it doesn't really dry. I'm not exactly sure what it's there for. And it doesn't really seem to serve any one purpose well. So blush. Now blush is the absolute opposite of what I just said about the other products for Chanel. Chanel used to have the best blush, in my opinion, in existence. And I'm wearing it today. It's called Golden Sun. I think the shade is gone now, actually. This is an old one. And I can tell you there's two ways to tell if let's say you're buying on secondary markets and you're not sure if it's the old formula or the new formula. I'd say two things. One, there's no such thing as the old formula because they changed the formula many times. I worked for Chanel for a couple of years. They changed the formula once while I worked for them, and that was 25 years ago. So it's changed. The scent changed in the new release, and the longevity changed in the new release. What do I mean by that? When you smell this one, and this one's old. I think this blush is like 10 years old, maybe 15. You can still smell it's rose and it's strong. Like it's a perfume. You can still smell it 15 years later. I have testers of shades. These are very old. This is called Mocha, which doesn't exist anymore. This one still smells. Seriously. And this is really old. And still works the same, by the way, which is just, yeah, and you can still smell it. So that's the first thing. You'll be able to tell that the blush is, if you're buying like on a secondary market, because these don't exist anymore. You'll be able to tell if it's the older version of the blush because it has this strong scent, which you might not like. Just telling you. I really like it, but I think I got indoctrinated when I was using it all the time because I worked with it. So that's the first thing. The other thing that I would say though is that on the back of the packaging, and I'm trying to make sure I have the right, yeah, okay. So here's one of the new blushes, and here's my old one. So here's Golden Sun. On the back of Golden Sun and the back of Ombre I know is new because Ombre is a new shade. But what I mean by new, I think it switched over 2 years ago. There's the verbiage on the back is the same. Okay. It says the same thing. It says it's still Chanel. It says the New York, all that good stuff. 18 months. Yeah. Okay. But there's one difference on the newest packaging. Well, let's see if you can see this. On the newest packaging, there are 2 lines here. One line saying Chanel, London, WVU, blah, 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 blah. Then above it, it says Neuilly. I don't even know, something in French. I'm not sure what it says. But there are 2 lines. There's 2 lines of language right there. The old packaging has 1 line. It is not the same. That is the only difference that I can find. I don't think there's any difference in the packaging otherwise. So it is a little difficult to tell if you go to a secondary market if the shade still exists. Like there's some shades that still exist. I think Rose Bronze still exists. There's other Jersey still exists. So it's just been reformulated. Shades like Golden Sun, I'm pretty sure are gone. Mocha is gone. So those are older because they don't exist anymore. But if you're buying on secondary market because you want the old formula, but it's a shade that still exists, that line, the fact that if there's 2 lines, like there's words and then a line and then something underneath it, then that's the new one and not the old. At least that's what I could tell from the ones that I have. It could be that that's not the case across the board, but it was the case with the old ones I had versus the new ones. So the old blushes are definitely worth buying. You know, buying on secondary markets I know can be a little tricky and you're not sure if it's been used before and how long has it been sitting and all those good things. Totally get that. But I will say that I've had my older blushes from Chanel for years, some cases more than a decade, and they still work absolutely perfectly. Now I do keep them away from sunlight, air, you know, I mean they're literally sealed, but but they do work perfectly. And I absolutely love their blush. I wish they hadn't changed it. It's just so beautiful that it would be my go-to forever if they hadn't changed the formula. The new blush I think is fine. I don't think it's bad. I just I wouldn't say that it's out of this world by any means. The one product that they came out with in the blush though that I really do like is these little pots. And remember a minute ago I said the multi-use products don't really, in my opinion, they're never as good for every purpose. That's this. Because this is technically referred to as a multi-use product that you can use on your lips and your cheeks and your eyes. I don't like it on my cheeks. I mean on my lips, and I don't like it on my eyes. On my lips, it's too dry. On my eyes, it doesn't look right and it creases. But on my cheeks, what I do is I put my foundation on and then I put this on top of it. And then I do the rest of my like bronzer, highlighter, or whatever else. And then I put the powder blush on last. And this gives it a really good base and just looks really nice underneath. And I think it just like adds, I don't know, sort of a little bit of an emollience to my face, a little bit of dewiness to my face that isn't necessarily there. I will say that with the Chanel blushes of old, though, it's not usually as big of a deal because the Chanel blushes of old will give you that anyway, even without the new products. But I really like these balms for the cheeks. For the rest of my face, not so much. But for the cheeks, I think it is definitely worth it. And I have all the shades. I do. I have every shade. This one is probably my favorite, and it's Lively Rosewood. Doesn't fade on me. Again, I usually use it with the powder on top of it later. But, you know, to be honest, like most of my no makeup days, like that I'm running around or doing calls or something, that's what I put on and it works great. It's the amount of makeup that I want. So works really, really well for me. Highlighting powders from Chanel. They are usually standouts for Chanel. And Chanel has numerous ones, and I won't get into all of them today because this video is already long, but there are illuminating blushes, which look like something like this, an illuminating blush powder. Basically, they come in all different kinds of shades. They have some that are more like highlighters, some that are more like blush. The illuminating blushes and their illuminators are all beautiful. The powders are all finely milled. This is the special edition Camellia, which is a really nice highlighter. I have it on my face today. It is beautiful. I didn't put it in my best of because I feel like Chanel has had these beautiful highlighting powders forever, and they've continued to make gorgeous highlighting powders. No doubt about it. They absolutely are. And the Camellia is gorgeous. But I feel like for Chanel, in some ways, like for me to recognize it and be like, yes, this is absolutely outstanding, they need to do something else. Like the packaging, although I know traditional and classical Chanel, do something else with it. Come up with something. Have a special edition outside of the packaging. And I'll get to that talking about the tweeds in a minute. But I feel like, you know, yes, you've made excellent products for a very long time. Your highlighting powders have, in my opinion, always been good. I think they're beautiful. I've been wearing them. I have the Camellia on. I think it's stunning. I think it's great for somebody who's looking for an elegant highlighter, not something super blinding or wet. It's definitely more subtle, but absolutely beautiful. But it's been the same for quite some time. And although the idea of the Camellia in and of itself is great, I mean, I do. I like it. That's why I bought it. It has a Camellia. That's cool. But they could have made the outside packaging Camellia pink or put some kind of special design on it. I feel sometimes that Chanel, I understand that they have tradition and I respect that, but I also think they can skirt by a little bit because they've done things the way they've done them for so long and they don't want to do something different. I love Chanel, but you know, you got to say these things because they're true. So let's get to loose powder. So interestingly enough, I don't really like their loose powder. I'm not a loose powder person, so that is the first thing. Their natural finish loose powder, I think it's good. But I have generally not been big on powders because my skin is dry, so I've always just been like, eh. But I think their powder is fine. I think it does what it's supposed to do. And mine doesn't have a smell. I've had it for a long time. I think it's fine. I think it does what it's supposed to do. I think it, you know, gives a nice mattifying effect to the skin. It feels nice and soft. The thing is, though, there are powders now from Givenchy and Suku and Dior, I'm looking in my drawer, that I all like better. And they're more brightening. Westman Atelier has a pressed one that I like better, but which I might lose better. Clé de Peau. So, and again, these are all luxury, those are luxury brands, and they are higher priced like the Chanel. And so if I'm comparing this to, say, this is going to win. So personally, I think Chanel needs to come up with some new loose powder that competes with those others. Now, that may be because my skin is dry and I don't like the Chanel powder because I feel like it kind of dries my skin out a little bit, and I also feel like it doesn't brighten it. Whereas the Clé de Peau, the Suku, the Givenchy, the Dior lavender powder, they all have shades that are brightening and lightening. So maybe that's why I like them and I don't like the Chanel. Maybe that's why you would like the Chanel. But I just feel like they haven't done a lot to change their powder in a very long time, or at least I haven't noticed anything. But again, I'm not an expert on loose powder because it's not something I spend a lot of time on. So that one I will say I'll give them a little bit of a pass because I don't spend as much time there. Looking at the collection, the summer collection again, just to mention the highlighting blush that they're going to have. I said it in the beginning, but I'll say it again. Yes, I absolutely am going to buy that. I can't wait to see what it's like. As I mentioned, their illuminating blushes are almost always beautiful, and I always love them. The issue is sometimes they don't have a lot of pigment, so we'll just have to see. Let's do eyes and then finish with lips because I think that's a good place to end. So when it comes to eyes, they're going to have this quad. Here's the thing about the Chanel quads. They really differ. So there's variety there, and in good and bad ways. I cannot tell you that every Chanel quint that I've tried I've liked, because that would be lying. Some I've really disliked, and some I've just thought were like, really, you charged whatever you charged, you know, depending on the time period that we're talking about, a lot of money for this terrible non-pigmented eyeshadow. So yeah, there's some Chanel that's been terrible. And there was a period of Chanel under a particular leader that I really did not like the color stories. Again, I don't think the quality was bad, it's just I didn't like the color stories. So I tend to favor the Chanels of old, the older quads, the ones that came out in the 90s and the early 2000s. I really liked. There's quite a few of them that I have in my collection that I love and I will hold on to. Never let anyone touch. And they are my favorites. Like, they're more pigmented, they're more colorful, they have more like uniqueness, at least to me. But I am encouraged by some of the ones that have come out lately. And so I want to just say, like, today I have on a combination of eyeshadows. So I have on something that I've mentioned several times is my favorite. They're single shades, they're powder eyeshadows. This is Cure Brune. This is a real, I know it doesn't look like I've used it a lot, but I actually do. This lasts a really long time. This is a really good, cool brown. I think this is sold out everywhere. I don't think it exists, but it works really well on practically everybody because it changes its shade depending on your skin tone. And it's just a really beautiful brown. It's a cool one, but it's a really beautiful one. And I use it a lot. I have it in my top drawer to use it as kind of like the satin matte base for all kinds of other eye looks because it's just a really good brown. It's a cool brown that works for everything. So I use that today as the crease shade in this look. And I was like, okay, that's perfect. So I love the single eyeshadows that they come out with. They're always, I think they're always limited edition. I have a bunch of them. I love their single eyeshadows. I'm not usually a single eyeshadow person, but those I always get because the formulas are always good and the shades are always like really interesting and I really like them. So I always pick those up. And then I have a shade from the Le Beiges. Now this is something that doesn't exist anymore. This is the Indispensable palette, and I don't know why they did a couple of these. These are the 9 pans. I love the 9 pans. I wish they would do this again. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like this type of stuff I think is unique and I really like it, and they stopped doing it. But anyway, this is a great nude 9 pan palette. If you have a chance to buy this, because it sort of popped back up a little while ago in a couple of places, buy it. It's really good. Each little section has like an eye look. Basically, you can do these 3 together, or you can just mix and match them. Really good quality, really great shades, excellent formula. Love that 9 pan. That's one of my favorites of all time. I took like a warmer brown and increased it, enhanced the crease with it, and I really like went a little deeper with it. Like I was a little bit more specific about the area that I put it in. I made it a little bit more narrow. And then what's all over my eye is the pink shade from the Tweed Brunette Rose. Now, I will tell you that when the Tweeds came out, there was a lot of brouhaha. If you were involved in all that, you know it was difficult to buy at first, and then it didn't sell out, and then they had extras. And really what's unique about the Brunette Rose is that they are, and the other Tweeds eyeshadows, is that they have a tweed pattern on the eyeshadows themselves, and they have a tweed covering. So there's a cover that comes that looks like the black ones, the velvet ones that are with all the others, but it's tweed. And it's in the color story of the eyeshadow. That is different. That is unique by Chanel, and I actually appreciate that. Like I was talking before about the Camellia powder. Camellia powder is absolutely beautiful, but they could have done something with the packaging. But anyway, I love the fact that they did the tweed things. I think that's great. The way they rolled it all out was a disaster, and I don't love that. And the fact that they increased the prices by like a lot, again, yeah, don't like that either. If you're gonna do it, just say you're gonna do it. Don't sneak it up on people. But I actually do love the product. I do love the quads. This is one of my favorites, and I have some faith or a little bit of hope, I guess, that the quads will continue to go in a positive direction, because the last couple quads that have come out, I've really liked. And the names are escaping me right now, but there's a couple that have come out the last couple seasons that I've bought all of them, and I've loved all of them. And I think they've done a really good job. So hopefully the new one, the spring summer one, it's not my color story. I'll tell you that right now, guys. These are pastels. I don't think I'm gonna love the color story, but hopefully the formula is good and it's elegant and it lasts and it's beautiful, because that's the point. Like, I don't have to like every color story. In fact, it would be weird if I did, but the formula needs to be good. I will say though, with Chanel, like I said, the Chanel of old used to be very pigmented, and there was a lot of bright shades and deeper shades. We haven't seen as much of that in Chanel eyeshadows of late. There's been a few quads that have had it, but not as much. So that's the only thing that worries me about the spring summer one. It looks to me that it's very lightly pigmented. So I feel like it's only gonna, I think only certain people are gonna like it, but you know, I haven't seen it in person yet, so I will refrain from saying anything until we actually see it. But yeah, I'm hoping that it's going in a better direction. Like I said, the Chanel eyeshadows in general, I really like. I think they are very beautiful, but they tend to be a softer, more elegant look. They're not like, even the ones that were pigmented back in the day, they're not super shiny or trichromes or multichromes. There's none of that. It's a different aesthetic. So you have to like that aesthetic, but I do. And I used to wear Chanel like exclusively. That's like all I wore, because I worked there. So I got stuff for free. And I didn't have any money back then. So that meant I wore what I had. So for other eye products, mascara. Two things to say about mascara, and I can't believe I actually have to say this, but with everything going on, yes, these are my lashes. I don't wear falsies because I'm not good at it. And I've tried to wear falsies. They bug my eyelashes. They bug me. I can't do it. I mean, I can do it, but I really don't like it, so I don't. This is the Chanel mascara. This is the traditional Chanel mascara. Where did I put it? I'm like, where did I put the Chanel mascara? I put it somewhere. Okay, because now you're not going to believe I actually did it. So where the heck did I put it? Oh, here we go. Yes, this is the Chanel mascara. This is the traditional, original mascara. This mascara, and this one's getting really dry, this is a really good mascara. This mascara is one of my favorites from 10 years ago. So in other words, before recent releases, I would have said this was like a standby. It's an excellent mascara. It's lengthening, it's volumizing, it makes my lashes look fantastic and feathery and long and great. But the thing is, it's prickly. It's a prickly brush. Like not super prickly. I forgot the name of it. I don't know what they actually call it. Le Volume de Chanel, something like that. Anyway, the problem is it is prickly. And that's actually one of the reasons it works, because it picks up all the lashes and it lengthens. So it does work. It's really good. Is it worth the price? To me, I would say no now, because I have other mascaras that I actually prefer to this one. And this one is probably like 10th on my list. So if you like that kind of lash, like that kind of mascara, then yes, absolutely the Chanel one is really, really good. But I like a different type of formula and brush. So for me, you know, it's out of my top 10 or right at the edge of my top 10. The other mascara that they recently came out with, which was the Noir Allure one, the Pop Top one, don't buy this. This is terrible. This is a terrible mascara. It flakes no matter what you do. I hate this thing. I mean, you know, most of the time I can be like, hey, I just don't, that's terrible mascara. Don't buy it. It's just not good. Sorry. Eyeliners, their liquid eyeliner, they don't talk about the liquid eyeliner actually a lot. I actually like this because of the shape. I think it can give you a really narrow line, which I think a lot of people want because you want a really specific narrow line. So I actually do like this. I just don't wear liquid eyeliner very often. It's very rare that I'll wear a liquid eyeliner. So if you're looking for something that creates a very thin line, this is really good. And it does stay on. So it's a good liner. It's just, I don't really wear a lot of liquid liner. So I don't want to, you know, if you're looking for something that's really thin line, though, I think that does it well. The Stylo waterproof and just the regular liners that they have, they're amazing. And they call them their crayon kohl's. I've talked about these a million times, guys. I'm not gonna, you know, keep talking about it, but the pencils are excellent. Waterproof ones is what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing Black Wood, which is this one, and this is the Kohl. They're just really good. They're really good eyeliners. These will stay on all day. They don't budge. They look fantastic. They're smudgeable for a little while and then they set. These are definitely more smudgeable, but they stay on a really long time and have excellent shades. I could not recommend them higher, both of them. If somebody said, what eyeliner or, you know, waterproof liner would you suggest? It would always be Chanel. And there's others that have come close, and there's others that I actually think are very, very similar now, but Chanel will always be. I honestly think they're phenomenally good. And for me, I've never had any issues with them. I mean, I can speak from my own experience. So I've never had problems with them at all. And I absolutely would say they're worth it. Again, that's always a subjective thing because I know Chanel's very expensive. So, you know, it depends on what you're willing to pay for makeup. What isn't worth it is this product here, which I finally found. This is the Duo Lumiere. This is the eye gloss. I wanted to put it in my worst of, but I couldn't find it. I found it. It's terrible. It's just terrible. Guys, I don't know the purpose of this. Maybe it's because I'm old. That's a possibility, but it's gloss for your eyes. My eyelashes got stuck in it. It creased. It doesn't look good. I don't know why anyone thinks it looks good. Again, this is personal taste. I get it, but why do you want something sticky and glossy on your eyes? Because you're going to open and close them. Like even the balm, which I don't like because it stays sticky, is on my face. So my cheek isn't moving back and forth. My eyes are opening and closing and blinking. Why would I want something sticky on them? Don't buy that product. It's not good. All right, so lipsticks. Last but not least. So I am wearing 3 products from Chanel today. I am wearing their Longwear Lip Pencil, which by the way, back in the day used to be terrible. It was one of the worst liners on the market. They reformulated several years ago, and now these are one of the best. They stay on. They're really creamy, but not too creamy. They're perfect. They stop bleeding for the most part. I mean, there's only so much you can do, but for the most part they do. They have great shades. Love these. These are excellent. Absolutely love them. The spring summer release has the inks and the balms. So I'll talk about those last because those are in the collection. I will say the other lipstick products, the regular satin lipsticks, Pop Tops as I call them, are excellent. Great formula. I'm not sure if I would say they're my favorite satin formula. I am getting close to try to finishing that video up about what my favorite satin lipsticks are, but they're definitely in the top 5. Really good formula. Lasts long. Not as creamy as say like the Hourglass now, because the Hourglass is a very creamy formula, but these last longer. They really last a long time. They're extremely good. The Allure La Astray, which are the refillable thin ones, these are excellent lipsticks, but they're very expensive for what they are. You get less product. I like them because I like the thinner lipstick tubes, but I think I'm like the only person who does. I like them because they're easy to put on my lips. They fit perfectly within my lips, and so I don't have to worry about like a liner or anything because it's the perfect shape. That's just me. The Tenue lipsticks. Guys, if you have not tried this and you like a long-lasting lipstick, you are missing out. There's lots of shades. This is in my favorite shade, Tender Beige. You basically put this side on first, which is the lipstick. Then you put the, quote, gloss side on after it dries down after a couple minutes. The gloss side is the side that's in the black side here. And you put this, it's a little brush. You put this over the lip shade, whatever it is that you buy, whatever color. The shininess will wear off. That lipstick will stay on for so long, you have no idea. And it is the only alternative I have to a long wear like stain lipstick because I can't do those lipsticks. They just hurt my lips too much. That I can handle. Like it does dry a little bit as like your lips will feel drier as the day goes on. And some people actually have said they can't do it because it's too drying for them, which I think is interesting because they work for me. But it's a really good formula. It was long-lasting lipstick before there was long-lasting lipstick. So definitely worth trying. Seriously. Really good product. All right, so the balms that they have in here is 928 and 930. That's what's coming out for the spring. 928 is Pink Delight. 930 is Sweet Treats. I think it's along Valentine's Day. They actually look like pretty shades. I'm going to pick them up, but I can tell you right now, guys, I'm wearing balm right now. There's not a lot of pigment to these. I like them because I like a good balm, but this is 914. This is my favorite one. It's called Natural Charm. I just want to be honest. It's a colored, it's a balm with some, you know, pigment in it. So you're going to spend a lot of money for a balm. Am I going to spend a lot of money for a balm? Yes, I am, because I like them. But I'm just telling you, I wouldn't argue they're worth it. That's all I'm saying. But the shades look really pretty. The gloss, this is 804. This is my favorite gloss. This gloss makes your lips look bigger than they are. I love the Chanel gloss. I think they used to call them Glossomers. Now I think they're just called Cocoa Gloss, or I don't know, but I always call them Glossomers. Love it. Not too sticky. Looks really pretty. Plumps up. It doesn't actually plump up your lips. Just looks like your lips are plumper. Absolutely love it. All right. So the ink's the last thing, and it's 236 and 238. I just don't like these. And again, maybe this is the formula. I don't know, and maybe it's changed, but the way the inks are described, maybe I'm just missing the point of them. Liquid lip with a glossy hue and lip glossy finish. So it's a liquid lip. So it's a long-lasting lip that has a glossy finish. But on me, they didn't stay glossy. They got dry looking. And they just kind of looked sort of matte-ish over like a little while. And they just didn't look that flattering on me. Now again, maybe it's because it's a maybe it's because it's a liquid lip. I don't know. But the formula, I just didn't love it. The lac lipstick, I do like. The ink lipstick, I don't. So it could just be the formula and it's just too drying for me. I just didn't like it. It just didn't work for me. So again, that's just my personal take. Okay, that's a very long video because Chanel has a lot of products, which is why I went through the spring stuff up front in case that's all you wanted to see, and I'll have timestamps. But I'm sure I missed something because there's a lot of Chanel. And if your question to me have you tried the thing that I missed and I didn't talk about today? Probably. I probably have. Because at one point I literally went through literally every single product that Chanel had at the time, and there was a lot. So I probably have tried it, or at least I know of it. And if I didn't talk about it today, it's because I don't use it or I forgot, which is also possible because I forget things sometimes. So if you have any questions about something I didn't talk about, please let me know below. Or if you have any questions about things I did talk about and want more details, I'm happy to do that. Okay, guys. One of these days I'm going to make a really short video. It's going to be like 5 minutes. It's going to be like, buy these 5 things. The reason I generally don't do that is I feel like there's always so much more to like making a decision when you're spending this much money. Like if I'm spending $1, I don't know. I feel like if I like it, I don't like it, it's not as big of a deal. But if I'm spending $100 on something, I want to know all the details. So I feel like when you're getting into luxury makeup, I need to go into more explanation about why or not I buy something or like something. But I am trying to do shorts as well, so I'll work on that. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon.